this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use a tool function, explain what it is, and show you a brief demo about it. So as you're looking here, you're looking at our AI Studio, and I've pre-set up an assistant. And in this case here, this is the default view of the assistant. If I were to run this without any additional information, this is just using whatever AI logic is available kind of generally on the internet. If I were to say, show me a list of customers with the name Amboy. Right? It doesn't have access to any of my database. It doesn't know anything about my system in particular. So the whole goal of what we're trying to do is trying to make our AI smarter, right? You're trying to enlighten, maybe not enlighten, but give some more knowledge available to your assistant. So one way we're going to do that is with the tool function. And again, the tool function, its design is really just to try to, they're like little helpers that you could add to AI. So one of the most popular helpers you can add, and what I'm going to demo for you here today, is just calling a retrieval. So here's a retrieval I built. It's called customer info, and it's just a standard multiple row retrieval, just listing customers. Really, really simple. So back in the AI Studio, I'm going to say, let's add in a tool function here. So we are going to say add an application. We could also add in an external object, right? If you had a Java program, an RPG, a CL, something you wanted to call, you could absolutely do that here too. And you could also make your AI smarter by calling a knowledge base. Not going to get into this too much. I have a separate video over on the knowledge base documentation page that goes into knowledge base a lot more. So back in application now, I am going to call a retrieval. Okay. You could also call a maintainer. You'd be used to read or write data if you wanted. But in my case, I'm going to call a retrieval, and this is going to give this a name. Okay. And then there's a display name and a description. And I know this seems like something you might want to just yada yada your way through, but when the request is made from your user, right, when they interact with AI, the system is going to see that this tool function is included, and the name of it, as well as the description, is being sent along to the LLM. So any information that you can enter here will be sent to the LLM. So, you know, this is a list of my clients, and you know, CNAME is the customer name. You know, anything you wanted to add here, you can, right? Looking below here, there is this idea of tool parameters. So, you know, you got to think a little bit like, what are some things my user might ask for? Well, maybe they, you know, they might ask to look up information about a customer's name. It's not required, but maybe they wouldn't type it in exactly. Maybe they would just have like a search, like a like, okay? But maybe they might also search for like the customer number, right? Maybe some of your users might know a customer number, not required, and maybe that's an exact match, right? So you could list out parameters you might expect the user to ask for. As far as, so those parameters, that's what's being sent back and forth between what the user is typing in and how we're going to look up that information in your tool function. Of course, you could add a system prompt, and I have a separate doc to talk about system prompts as well. But for the moment, let's go ahead and run this application. So before I asked about Amboy. So show me a list of customers with the name Amboy. Same request as before. But notice now it was able to find that row, right? So on the back end, the LLM kind of deduced that, okay, the customer's name was Amboy, and it knew to be able to pass that parameter, ran the query to get me this result set, okay? But again, we could have also said, you know, show me customers with the number 100002. And was smart enough to pull that sort of information. So again, the whole premise of the tool function, like I can't imagine how you could have an AI assistant without tool functions, right? That's kind of your secret sauce to be able to make your AI smarter by being able to hook it into data from your database. And I want to point out, and this is clear and it's in the documentation too, that by doing this, you are not giving unfettered access from your LLM to your database. That's not happening at all, right? The idea is that the LLM knows about this particular tool function, right? It doesn't have access to the database. It has information access based on what you've sent here in the parameter names. When that request is made off to the LLM, it then can go back to the database and ask for what data, it comes back to Empower and says, this is the data I want. Empower can write that query and send the data over, just the necessary data over to the LLM. Anyways, I hope this helped. Feel free to use this. And if you have questions, that's what our support team is here for. Thanks so much.